And then my wife's like, oh, this is a prank call, and hangs up. She's gotten them, I don't know, quite a few times. And the point is, the number won't even show up on caller ID. And then they'll say, I hope your mother dies, or I hope your dad who's in the hospital dies, you blah. I mean, so they're listening on the phone. Because multiple times I've had it happen, my wife's had it happen. Imagine, I'm there protesting Bilderberg. Bilderberg's ended, it's full of NSA, all this spy gear. I walked into the gift shop right before they shut the hotel down, the day they were arriving that morning, and the door opened. To use a Star Wars analogy, I was like C-3PO in Cloud City, going in the wrong room. He's like, oh, wait, stormtroopers, no. Anyways, the door's right there. They're going, I'm telling you, you dial into the Navy and Air Force satellite with a CMQX fiber. All right, whatever, but I'm telling you, this system, wait, I've got them. They're moving now. You got to get that other dignitary on there. Oh, wait, the ambassador. Yeah, we got it. Patch it into upstairs. And they had like every conceivable area with just spy gear everywhere. They had the conference rooms being loaded with it. There were all these military guys in plain clothes everywhere. And I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes getting my Gatorade. Because the cooler was right there. Okay, my guys are on Skype. I got to go to them. I'm out of control. The point is, I've just seen so much crazy stuff. And they're arguing with each other about, no. You got to break into his cell phone with this satellite. And I'm listening to it. What's it got on there? He's got it's a Nokia. All right, well, I'm telling you, it's on this system. You got to use this satellite. And I'm just listening to them spying on people illegally right there. And after a while, they figured it out and got up and slammed the door. But I mean, they're just so used to the zombie. But that's a side issue. The reason I got off into that story is it had all broken up. We're at the steakhouse. Aaron Dykes was there. And my wife's like, oh, my dad, or was it her mama? No, it was her dad at the time. They'd both been ill at the time. He's in the hospital. He's, it's real bad. They're doing surgery. My daddy, I'm worried about him. When are you coming home? Like, we're eating a steak. We're flying out in about 3 hours. It was, great mission, a lot of great footage. We're going to expose these guys. All right, love you. I'll see you tonight. Do you need me to pick you up? No, baby, I don't. Bye. Hang up. They passed the A1 sauce, calls back crying, and they called up and did the whole thing and then said they hope her dad dies and all this stuff. Was that the call where they said that she was pregnant? Or they also call up and say, I've given women diseases. That's another one. That's another angry woman calls up about the disease. And it's just all to mess with your family. It's like right out of the film JFK. Those are true stories, what happened to Garrison. And if they get your kid on the phone, too, if they get your kid to answer the phone, they'll try to creep them out. Because these are cowardly, un-American, anti-human scum who've sold out to the bankers. And they think it's funny to call up and make fun of somebody's dad who's in the hospital. Okay, enough from me. I got to go to McBreen. Did Sam, he just dropped? I was going to go back to him. That guy had a great voice, too. I wanted to talk to him some more. Listen, Sam, we're going to leave that line open. If you can get back in, I guess I confused him saying I was going to McBreen. If you can get back in, it'll fill up constantly. It's already full. If you can get back in, I want to hear the rest of your story. But he told the story about how he was doing some investigative work and they would call up and do that. And yes, that's how it works. And if it intimidates you, next they're going to beat you up in your parking lot. But if you just say, hey, you know what? I got my back turned. Do whatever you're going to do, coward. I don't want to die, but go ahead and make me a martyr. But don't let me see you coming. Enjoy the cancer viruses. Take extra shots. I start saying, how many of your family members have got neurological disorders? I bet the evil work you do, you've been judged. You got sick kids? You wonder why your life's so miserable? Why don't you join the good guys? Oh, they don't like that. It takes the fun out. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's talk to, let me just reset here, because I'm joking around here, and the news we've got to cover here demands serious import, serious gravitas, serious reverence and focus. I want to respect this issue to simplify it. State seizes property under green zoning laws, terrorizes man to death. We didn't hear the story until he died, and we've got our crew there on the ground with a live video feed of the burnout little farmhouse. They'd already been grabbing the land up to it for a UN biological diversity zone, which they, of course, later would build on undoubtedly. That's how it works. They'd harassed him since '08, he kept winning over and over and over again that he was allowed to have chickens because it was on the edge of the town and grandfathered. And they weren't going to put up with that, so they came to take the property, and it blew up. And you can see blast holes in the top of the house. And the government wants us to just out of the gates within 5 minutes. No foul play. He killed himself. That's the way it is. So if somebody comes to my house and blows it up, I want an investigation. Okay, I'm not blowing my house up. If somebody says I slip and fall, break my head open, I want an investigation. If I'm found dead in a hotel room with a hooker with a heroin needle in my arm, don't use drugs, don't use hookers, okay? I just want to say I'm not going to commit suicide either. But they won. They've got their green zone now. Of course, now they're just saying they may just sell it and the city may do something with it now. Oh, not going to be a green zone now, I guess. That's the latest. Darrin McBreen and Marcos Morales reporting from the ground. They're in Roswell, Georgia, where the tyrants have landed. They're not little green men. They're little bureaucrats with armed police defending them so they can carry out their operations. Another victory on the homeland front against a wicked man for many, many years, raising a few chickens in his backyard. But he's been dealt with. Darrin McBreen, you're there at the site of the evil chicken man, as the police call him. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, actually, Alex, the entire community calls him the chicken man, but lovingly. He's very popular in the area.
Well, he's dead now. He's dead, though.
He's known for raising chickens.
Well, he's dead now. So please continue. So they've had a victory. Tell us what happened.
Well, as you know, he tragically died on March 26th following an explosion that took place right here at his home. And this was during when, the county marshals were here to forcibly evict him from his property. And this was to enforce the new green zoning laws. And he did not comply. But, the whole history of this thing goes back a few years. They harassed him from the very beginning when it was obviously apparent to the city council in the state of Georgia that he did not want to budge. And so they began by giving him citations for owning too many chickens. It escalated. He got citations for grading his own property with a tractor that he borrowed from the mayor of Roswell, Georgia. But he got cited for that as well. And eventually he got thrown in jail for basically grading property with a tractor, if you can believe that.
Amazing. I want to come back and tell us what happened to you with the police, what the locals are saying. Now, you've talked to some journalists. We're investigating what happened. We can see the house that looks like it was in World War II with blast holes in the roof. It looks like the explosion did come from within, from what I'm looking at. And so we'll get more with investigative journalists. They're on the ground, Marcos Morales and Darrin McBreen, straight ahead. And then I will break down the... Look, it's not fun getting in the way of Arte Saveda and this giant event they had. Next, I guess, when their poor police officer gets killed, they're going to, I guess for 7 days straight, route a giant cavalcade in circles, and then all of us should bloodlet to say we're sorry. And we'll get another report from on the ground tomorrow with Darrin McBreen. They're going to be finally more detailed reports and higher res video they're going to be uploading. We should have the nightly news tonight and tomorrow night and next week. Because this is a big deal. More and more they're killing people. People end up dying who don't vaccinate their kids, even though there's no law, or people that don't hand over their property, or people that sell milk to their neighbors. Government is a mafia now to make sure no other business operates but what they want. And it turned out a bunch of people were keeping chickens. It was very popular. It's a semi-rural area. What changed with the chicken man and the person that's now dead? And tell us what you've learned about his death. I mean, is it leaning towards a suicide, that they drove him to his death, or is there foul play? Tell us what the police did, Darrin, when you were there.
Well, we haven't seen any, signs of heard anything about, foul play. It is very suspicious, though. There has been a police presence here since we got here. When we showed up at the property this morning, a police car drove by, slowed down, took a look at us. We didn't think too much about it until we went to City Hall. And we simply just attempted to walk in there. Marcos first went inside to see, if we're at the right place and if we could talk to someone from the city council. Well, the media spokesperson pretty much told him that he wasn't allowed in. Marcos came out, told me that, and I said, well, you know what? Let's grab the camera. Let's go in there. By the time we grab the camera, a cop pulls up, immediately says, you are not allowed to enter. Turn your cameras off. Which we refused to do so. And then next thing you know, we're surrounded by 2 other police officers.
So on the street in America, you don't have a camera. You better watch it. In places like Illinois, life in prison for filming police. There's no law, but they got juries that will send a ham sandwich to the gas chamber. So first they said, you don't have cameras in America. Okay.
Well, yeah, and we naturally schooled the police officers on our rights, that we refused to turn the cameras off, said, look, you're a public servant, we're going to videotape if we want to. And by the way, you have your dash cam running, so we're going to keep our cameras rolling. What do you think of that? So we had this exchange for a while. They demanded that they see our credentials, and that's ridiculous, because
like you've got to be with ABC or CBS.
Oh, yeah, we must be.
But it doesn't
Fox
matter.
News,
they always act like credentials or that's what the state police called our local AM affiliate 590. And kept calling random people trying to get somebody to say I didn't work there and that I was dishonest. One time when they said, where are you on the radio? And we said, well, locally 590. So that they could then put in a file, we've now learned that we masquerade. We're not media, and we're not on 590 in the state police file. Because I've talked to folks internally. That's what that was. Because they say so. Their file says we're not on the radio, Darrin.
Well, and I explained to them that City Hall in Austin, Texas, where we are from, that we're able to walk up the steps with a camera. So is the average citizen. And but they flat out refused to let us in. They did give us a phone number of someone we could call. Basically gave us a runaround.
Did you ask them what the law was that media or random citizens traveling through cannot enter, obviously, a public building? Was it marked that it's not public?
No, absolutely not. And
well, listen, this is pure color of law. They're acting very suspicious. You got a dead guy, and they don't want to talk to you, and the police are trying to violate your First Amendment and your right for a redress of grievances to go in a public building. This, just sounds pretty bad, Darrin.
Well, and interestingly enough, when the police officers left, it wasn't but a few minutes later and we got this on video, a family showed up. They walked up the steps and began taking pictures. And no one came out and told them they couldn't do otherwise. And there's a cop car sitting right there watching them do it. So right after we weren't allowed to go in, a family shows up and gets their pictures taken in front of City Hall.
Well, I'm not telling you to go in there, but if they tried to arrest you for disorderly conduct or whatever, you'd have a major lawsuit. And we are suing Pittsburgh right now over Dew's arrest. I'm not telling you guys to go get arrested, but I think if I was there, I probably would have just gone in. Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys are just out of their jurisdiction. I mean, they are violating your rights.
They basically barricaded us with 3 cop cars to block our entrance, and we were quite a few, what do you say, Marcos, a football field away from the stairs, They stopped us, man. I mean, as soon as we started making the move to go towards those steps, they pulled up, 1 cop first, and then the next 2 were, quickly followed, and they were not going to have it.
That's called tyranny. Does Marcos want to say anything?
Marcos, you want to add to it? Marcos is really